So one of the big things that people always talk about is how, and it is true, but in this case, I think it's slightly different. People always talk about how people talk themselves into a recession, where people get scared and they stop spending money, and because they stop spending money, businesses start to fail, and it's just a negative kind of cycle. In 2022, I actually think it's different because we had COVID, and actually a lot of governments around the world, but particularly in the UK, in the US, started to pump billions of pounds into the economy, which didn't help inflation, which is something that we've kind of seen. That on its own, probably you could have got away with. But what happened? We had COVID. We've got the war in Ukraine, so energy prices have gone through the roof. Again, it doesn't help inflation, but then likewise, we've got supply chain shortages. COVID has caused massive supply chain problems, which again affects businesses. You've got the labor shortage because people can't get the staff to make stuff. And it's almost where we've got this perfect storm that has been brewing for realistically 6 months. At some point, it will land. I think it's going to be in the next 2 months or so. Is when it'll be like, "Poof." But the truth is, regular everyday people, including me and you, will already be feeling the cost at the petrol pump and etc. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and the reason why I'm not afraid to talk about it, is almost all those factors are out of our control, and that horse has bolted. There's no way that me talking about, affects that. But there are things that you can do either in your personal life or in your business, which will kind of help. And then even in good times, these are still really good things to do. So don't take this as a negative, but actually, I think it's something I wanted to kind of talk about. The first one, every business often has some form of overhead. So these are fixed costs which you're kind of tied into, which you have to pay regardless of how much product you sell. So for me, it's this office, it's all my software, it's the computers, it's the streaming stuff. What else do I have? That's about it actually for me, because on purpose, I don't have a team, I don't have any staff for this exact reason. But actually for you, if there's any way you can reduce your fixed costs, it's really valuable. That even could be down to subscriptions, magazine subscriptions. It could be, you name it, you'll know better than I will what you kind of spend money on. The reason is, and the reason why we talk about this, is that should the worst happen and your clients dry up or whatever, if you can reduce your outgoings, it increases the chance of survival for you, if that makes sense. Or even if you keep all the clients to do all this stuff, it'll make you more profitable. And when you're more profitable, you'll generate more cash, which again helps you. But often it's a really good exercise that actually to really look at, what do I actually spend money on? Is it all giving me value? Is it worth it? Do I feel like I'm getting something back? That assessment is super valuable to do at any point, and any manager should kind of do that. But especially with the potential to go into a recession, it might be that you have a subcontractor that is on a yearly thing. Maybe see if you can negotiate to maybe pay a slightly higher rate, but on a monthly thing. And the point is, it's all about the triage to make sure that should the worst happen, how do we keep you alive in a position to then rebuild as things kind of grow? So definitely reducing fixed costs is really important. Next, is get closer to customers. One of the most important things you can do is make friends with the people that pay your bills. You might think this is stupid, but it's absolutely not. One of the clients I work with, which is an offshore energy company, they're doing really well, but their suppliers are struggling. And one of the issues that we talk about quite a lot is to do with cash flow. And actually, some of our suppliers are paying over longer lead times because that helps them. And obviously we want to win the work. So, okay, we can deal with that. But then if our suppliers are really struggling, we might have to pay them quicker on, say, 30 days. But how do you balance it to kind of keep it, so everyone's happy and you don't lose suppliers? Because if you lose the supply, you can't supply that guy. But almost when things are going to get tight for everyone, for me at least, I think an open and honest conversation, just to have that chat with your purchasing manager or client or whoever, to say, actually, look, I'm struggling a bit with cash flow. Is there any chance we could do something? Are you okay? Do we need to pay you over longer lead times? And it's that honesty and transparency will go a really long way to build trust. But actually, should you have a really difficult conversation where you could be on the absolute bones of your arse and you're worried genuinely about going bust because you can't pay X bill, an honest conversation with your client might be they could have 2 million quid in the bank that they don't mind paying you quicker if it keeps you alive. Does that make sense? But it's that honesty and humility will make a huge difference in the real world. That likewise, the more loyal and the better you know your clients, the more likely they are to keep paying you and to really keep doing business with you. But actually just make a conscious effort to build that relationship and have that honesty with them, I think will go a really long way. Relating to that, are there any contracts that you can negotiate or renegotiate? It could be to do with your rent, as a prime example. One of the things I like to do, especially as I get near the end of the tax year, is pay, say, 6 months up front. And the hope is that if you pay 6 months your rent up front, yes, you need the cash to be able to do that, but you might be able to get a slightly cheaper rate, or vice versa. But the point is, only you will know what your situation is for different stuff. But actually, there's often clever ways, which is a win-win for your, I guess, provider. So in that instance, I'm helping the people that give me this office with their cash flow. And it's that different thing of really looking at what you kind of do, but it's all really kind of worth looking at. But the really important one, you really want to increase your promotion. So whatever you do to promote your business, you actually want to start ramping that up now. And this sounds really stupid, but the best time to actually invest in marketing and promotion is actually in a downturn. Often when other people start to scale back, you can make huge strides in terms of your offer and market awareness and lots of different stuff. But then likewise, cash and customers pay your bills. So the more people who know what you are, know what you do, and actually could potentially buy your stuff is really good. And that might actually really help you. So even if you do lose a customer just because they're having a really tough time, if you can land other ones, happy days. But the big thing that people often get wrong in a recession is to really cut back on their marketing and promotion. And actually, I think it's the most important thing you can do. But again, don't fall into the trap of just doing passive marketing where you do, yeah, you got great socials and people see the company and whatever. But you need to combine that with a quality sales message where you actually reach out to people and say, "Hi, Steve, how's it going? Is there anything we can do to help you at the moment?" Etc. But actually talk to people, because that's what will convert 100 times more people into buying your product or service than if you just do it passively. And the reason why I'm sharing this is that there will be people over the next kind of 3 to 6 months who will genuinely struggle. They'll be worried about paying their bills. They'll be worried about going bust. And all of these things will really help you kind of get through that as well. Sorry if it's a little bit morbid, but again, it's a topic that's relevant. And, again, if you have any questions or comments, please kind of feel free to reach out.